Hello, I'm Conrad, and I'm that vegan chemist. In this episode, I wanted to talk about vegans and zombies. In our modern culture, the prevalence of zombies is pretty common, and I think that it'd be rather intriguing to discuss where the zombie story is coming from and why, as a society, we keep revisiting this story. As everyone knows, zombies are typically characterized as mindless, soulless consumers of all living things. And in nearly every zombie apocalypse scenario, the protagonists are battling against these mindless consumers that are devoid of their humanity. I would hypothesize that this fear and fascination with the zombie apocalypse in our culture is first a coming to terms with the inevitable breakdown of society due to the mindless consumption of all global resources by the human population, and second, the story's separation of entities into either being survivor or zombie is distracting us from the acceptance and realization that zombies and humanity are the same. The growing demand for animal products has forced major companies to increase the amount of animals that they have at their facilities in order to meet the growing demand for animal products. This in turn has increased the probability of bacteria, viruses being spread amongst these animals living in close quarters, and in doing so we've increased the amount of antibiotics that we give to these animals. In one study, they actually showed that of the amount of antibiotics that's used for non-therapeutic purposes, that 24.6 million pounds of antibiotics are given to all our animals in a year, compared to 3 million that's given to the public to treat illness. So we have 3 million given to us, and then 24.6 million pounds of antibiotics given to these animals. And in a secondary study, they've actually found that in some cases as much as 80% of these antibiotics that are given to these animals ends up passing through the animal unchanged and then ends up getting put into these waste areas and then sprayed onto fields, and then these antibiotic resistant viruses and bacteria and illnesses go into waterways and contaminate groundwater. So here we're overusing these antibiotics, we're creating this plague and these illnesses that are resistant to our modern medications that we so herald that will save us, yet it's going into our environment and it's going into our waterways, which we in turn eventually come in contact with. So I think we're just begging for some type of illness to take over. We know from history that the Black Death killed a huge amount of the population, and our fascination and worry about it is something that you see all over the news. Like, oh, swine flu and Ebola, everyone's just terrified, oh my god, like it's spreading, and we know that it's coming up the pike, but no one seeks to realize the responsibility that you hold. In the last episode, I talked about how as a consumer of animal products, you in turn are contributing 131 times the amount of waste, the amount of blood and fecal matter and urine that is put on the planet. And we all know that blood and fecal matter and urine are not sanitary and they can be spreaders of disease, yet you are contributing to that much contamination that will grow and culture this plague. If you are consuming a standard American diet, I seriously doubt that you read the ingredients that you're consuming. And you know what? I personally know this because I used to eat this way. If I saw a label or a box or something in the store or something on the menu, if it sounded interesting, I'd just order it. I wouldn't know what was actually in it. I'd just order it. It sounds good, do it. So this mindless consumption of these animal products is leading to the breakdown and the more waste and plague that's coming into our planet. So have some responsibility for your actions and do the research. Actually look it up. You need to grow up. You're an adult, and you need to realize the facts. And the facts are this, that when you do this, you are demanding that this much contamination and this much plague-ridden bodily waste is dumped into our planet all over, spreading these viruses, bacteria that are resistant to our modern medications that try to keep those animals alive long enough so we can meet the demands for the animal produce. In this episode, I am discussing how veganism is a potential cure or a solution to stop a zombie apocalypse. And you know what? This can be said about many things, because if we look at our consumer culture and how much demand we put onto the planet and how much resources are being ripped out of the planet in order to provide what we in turn want to consume, that I think we need to realize where we're putting our money. Where are you putting your dollar? You vote with your dollar. So if you're voting with your dollar for a product, and that product is in turn putting down all this waste and spreading this disease, you're voting for this is the plague that I want to come about, because I am so short-sighted in my mindless consumption like a zombie to spread illness, bacteria, viruses into our planet that in turn can mutate, grow, and become something much greater that we cannot counter with our modern medications. Just realize what you're doing when you put down your money for what you buy. And I'm sick of people looking at veganism and saying, oh, well, vegans, like, you know, we have farms and the farms aren't that good either. Well, you know what? Nothing we produce as humans is doing anything good for the planet. Really. Nothing we're doing to the planet is actually helping it. We are the zombies, regardless. But the thing is, are you gonna be a zombie that ends up spreading shit and blood and urine and viruses and bacteria that are going into our waterways and mutating and growing because of what you demand for your zombie consumption? So I would rather be a vegan than be a zombie or a contributor to an impending zombie apocalypse or an impending zombie virus. So anyway, I look forward to hearing your perspectives, comments, rants, conflicts, oppositions, or just trollings. So anyway, I will talk to you later.